All right. What a gap down this morning. Our tiny little session from yesterday, straight sideways for a few hours there. Nothing to really mention. The daily chart was looking pretty bearish to me when we were back here. I mean, we failed to break out and then closed on the lows of that day. I really didn't like that. And then we did get follow through the next day. It tried to hold the low, kind of testing the moving average. We got one more test up and it looks like it failed pretty heavily overnight and this morning. Kind of lined up perfectly. I mean, yeah, we do have the COVID news as well, but the daily chart pattern, you know, gave a pretty good insight as well, in my opinion. So both things kind of working together, I guess. A little bit of fear going into the market this morning then. Not sure what participation is going to be like today. It's half session, kind of the holidays, so gonna be careful. Maybe we'll see some momentum. I'm not 100%. We'll see how the open goes, kind of go from there. But yeah, I mean, last few hours we've tried to kind of put in a little bit of a base here, but really ultimately didn't gain a whole lot. We didn't spring back up, that's for sure. It's like an 80-point gap down or something. It's a lot. So we'll see if it continues once market opens, or if we get a little bit of a move back up. Maybe there's quite a drop quite quickly. We'll see. The way this formed here, we kind of have this swing point off of this guy here that pushed just above, but then it took all of this to ever come back up and break it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see, if they wanted to do an open reversal, they could test below some of these swing points and then move back up, find some liquidity underneath some of these. Good morning one time. How was your Thanksgiving? But yeah, we'll see if the fear continues this morning. See if there's some panic selling, or see if we do get a little bit of a bounce. $80-point gap down. I don't know. That overnight price action too definitely has a few stocks that I'm interested in down at prices that I'm interested in, that's for sure. Look, I really zoom in, didn't realize how far out I was actually zoomed. Ooh, my trading view alerts are dinging. Yeah, I did some good review. I actually traded crypto yesterday as well. So I didn't really have a day off from trading, I guess. Review time showed me very much so that it's that same thing, you know. Missing opportunities is just as big of a mistake as taking ones that aren't actually opportunities. Messes with my results. I'm being disciplined in not taking a bunch of junk that I shouldn't be, but I'm not being disciplined in taking the ones that I should be. So it's kind of going both ways. Well, we're getting a nice push up here right away. It's a big gap down, so I wasn't sure if we were going to see some momentum plays form today. It is a smaller session, so in the past, the smaller sessions generally it hasn't been like huge participation. But last night was pretty wild, so I don't know. Maybe there will be a lot of participation this morning. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. We do have a nice push so far. See if it'll continue. Held that candle to the tick. It's a quick push so far. Dang, eh? Got almost like a 20-point move in 5 minutes. 3750 had low volume there, went through. 3650. Yeah, for sure. Buy the dip. Yeah, I mean the daily chart looks pretty nasty. Like that's a pretty it's a pretty strong like topping pattern or bottoming pattern, either upside down, that I look forward to trade for like swing term positions. But because it is the S&P 500, it's hard for me to ever like swing a short position like on a larger time frame. Market always goes up, so I generally look for that type of thing on the bottom more. Not to say we can't get more of a pullback, but I yeah, generally only do it the other way. The pattern is bearish, that's for sure. These candles are so big. A nice 2-bar. Really. Holding that same level. Get our trigger. I zoomed in a little bit to the 30 seconds to see if I could see more of a move on that. I'm not going to trade off it, but I was curious if that initial push right there gave that. Kind of did. Let's see if this goes 1 or 2 ticks below and we hold. Oh, still pushing back. It was prime for a bad news event. That's exactly what I said. I was like, man, we got this COVID news and we had bearish daily chart. Damn. The two couldn't have lined up any better. This thing's already retraced 3/4 of its move. Definitely not the price action I would look to see for that, you know, big spike continuation, but we do have a 1-tick poke that just happened right here. Double tested it, triple tested it. Oh, it's continuing. No more 1-tick poke. Yeah, I mean, it's taking back so much of the move. We're gonna test, I mean, we're testing low a day range now. This stuff here was testing this small area here. Still couldn't hold. See if we can hold the low a day, but nope. Sell the dip. Coming back into thicker volume area here. Price rejected those highs pretty quickly. It's a nice looking 2-bar. It closed up there, but the risk is so big. You have to get a trigger and a pullback to get in on. Doesn't look like it's going to close on the bullish side anyway. See if this wedge holds. I'm gonna come back in. I doubt it after we tried to break the top and came all the way back. I have my doubts. People would have this line drawn though. May in some way, shape, or form here. Might get profit taking here or something. And maybe it'll just go right through. No problemo. I like that this pulled back underneath some of these areas and it only did it by 1 tick so far. There was liquidity here. Got some profit taking maybe happening, maybe some longs. Candle's not gonna close good enough for me though. No. We're still going. We did a 20-point move up, and now we've done like a 30-point move down. Some good daily range right there. Yeah, it's pretty volatile right now. Yeah, and if you were able to catch the right side of the moves, market just kind of goes in your favor. Unless I were to get in on a smaller time frame, though, I don't really have anything that's really interesting me. Keeps teasing 2-bar reversals and then ends up closing them really poorly. That was one of the better ones so far, but we're getting a little bit more of both players down here. They tried once here, went one more time, tried even harder, enough times that it actually came back up into that range. It's better than a lot of the push down so far. We may be getting close to a time for a little bit of a pullback. I mean, I'd definitely be looking to get short on, you know, pullback, but I'd also play the rebound potentially, a counter rally, if it presented right. An inside candle. We got double inside. We're inside right now. The inside break to the downside. If this closes bullish, that would be a pretty good indication to rebound trade it. Yeah, it's a good close. It's like fucking a 5-point risk candle though. 6 points. Oof. Needed to just like limit order in. There's your trigger. Inside, market goes into breakout mode, fails the breakout, snaps back. Pulling back a little bit here. Take a swing at this. It's good risk to reward if it works. I got a chance to get in on a bid on a pullback here so I could accept my risk properly. It's a great pattern. If we can get a little bit of a snap. Want this candle to close bullish, and then I'm going to move my stop to break even. I'm not going to risk on this. Yep, just like this. And I'm out. Beauty. I wanted to hold for more, but I got nervous when I saw the snap back. Great bottom buy pattern right there. Would have gave a little bit more of the target here. Like I said, I'm not looking for huge. I mean, it's just a 1 minute chart pattern, so not looking for a huge spike back, but could have maybe squeezed a little bit more out of it. That's all right. Got more than my 3 points. Good scalp. I saw a little bit of a flicker sell happening near the top again. I didn't want to get caught in the snapback after I had already locked in 3 points. Didn't want to lose that. Happy with that. Pull back, testing the entries again. Breakout trade above that top candle would be pretty decent for a 2-point, 3-point push. Scalp, easy. There's nothing really between there until we get up into this area here, these lows. But the candle size, for me, it's like I'm risking way too much to get in for a 2 or 3-point push, so I'm not gonna do it. I don't like just using a cash stop. I gotta have my stop under like a swing point that actually invalidates my thought. Inside candle again. Came back up, couldn't regain that demand line. Starting to reject it potentially. 30 seconds left on this 5-minute candle. See how this candle closes. 10:54. What's our volume like in A period so far? Very high. Those are the numbers I like to see in drives. We're over 200,000 in A period. I would have that. I mean, that number generally gives me confidence that I would expect, you know, volatility to continue for at least beep the next 30-minute period. This might be the all we're getting for a pattern to get short off of. I'm not super keen about, so I'm gonna have to just wait. Had too much hesitation here. Then we teased a little reversal. Technically this could still be testing the reversal bottom and hold. Not looking to short for a low 1 opportunity here. Have to have a 2-legged pullback. Nice dip by retesting that W low. Nice, it held. So now we've confirmed a 2-leg pullback. That's a big risk to reward trade right there. Didn't break out with any kind of power yet, or candle's almost trying to close back near its lows. So they're holding, they're trying. They're trying. I mean, the fact that it came this close back up here, I assume it'll break, yeah. So now off of our W bottom, generally that I try to hold for two legs. So now that would have completed the full the full pattern. There was just no way I was gonna hold a mean reversion trade against that kind of move. I was just looking for the scalp. Still not really breaking with conviction at all. Both of those candles didn't even close above. Two-legged pullback. Short stepped back in aggressively. To be honest, the fact that that paused there and we came right back up in, this is starting to develop into a little channel here. You've got parallel lines right now. Spike then channel, but it's a channel the opposite way. The other thing that I'm not, it makes me less want a short is now that we've done another pull up, because generally for me, for continuation, I like it to happen off two. The third one I'm not as interested in, because the fact that the second one is failing right now, if it breaks up above 21 and a quarter, it failed. The failed two setup is, you know, still rejected it. Maintaining that channel line right back down. Respecting this channel range. Probing under. So that was the first stair step to actually stop. We were holding higher lows and making higher highs here a little bit on this channel, but this higher high now pushed a lower low swing. So maybe it slams, maybe it pulls back up and we get an entry, but same kind of concept here happened right here now. Okay, looks like we're actually gonna break out of the channel maybe. See if we break below low a day with any conviction. One tick poking below low a day so far. Or no, that's two, I think. Oh no, it is one. Retest. Still sitting here though. There it goes. So our red line we can bring down to that swing point now. We have done another push down from there. Broke back down below this demand line, came back up. Didn't hold. I'm gonna remove this now. Tested that moving average nicely. It was a decent short setup, but I just, like I said, I don't do the third. 1, 2, 3. Would have rather it have been 2. It's not a bad candle, especially after it tested and then went lower. We have no wick on the underside. Oh, they always do that at the end, eh? Just kidding. That's why I wait till the candle close. So we have an inside candle after a nice push again. See if we have another inside candle. No, a little higher. Not bad follow through. Didn't go down and then back up first though. Bullish price action down here. Can't do a low one. Can't reset after these guys, so still chilling. Although at the same time, low 2 opportunity doesn't make as much sense, because if the market comes back up and gets back up here again, it's going to look like an even higher 5-minute candle, which is even more bullish. Not clean setups for me, so I guess I still wait. The location makes sense for it to find resistance, but a 5-minute chart now looking good for inside candle. Let's see if this tests a tiny bit below and then goes bullish. Do we continue? Do we actually break out here, or do we fake breakout again in reverse? Yes, yes they are. Yep. The round numbers. No, the volume gets hella thin the closer we get. There's almost no contracts traded down there so far in the last 24 hours. Which could mean a good thing. Could mean price will get rejected down there quickly. Doesn't spend much time down there. Let's see. Nice 2-bar setup currently. Minimal wick, 1 tick wick below the low. Checking. Oh, it's going to continue. Got enough candles in a row now that we're qualifying for a momentum trade. Still going. Every time I say this looks like a nice 2-bar, it friggin' closes on its extreme opposite, so I'm just gonna stop saying it. No wick. 0 wick. Trigger. I just don't like how big the rest of this other candle was. It's not really ideal for a perfect 2-bar. But it's showing me that there is some... Again, we're hitting an area where there is some interest, or profit taking at least. Gave like a 2-tick risk entry down there to risk off the low. What happens here? Got a 1 tick so far, a couple ticks, point, never mind. There's a test below 4,600. Big psychological number. We gonna test below that overnight low though? 96, is it? 97, 45, 97. Well, if we look at it momentum wise, we could do, this is a push 1, we're in leg 2. Leg 1 was that like 30 points. So if we do a measured move, that would put us down like here, somewhere in the low 90s roughly, which would line up with a perfect test underneath low of day. And that would give a nice measured move out of leg 2. It would line up perfectly with a test under there. That could be a larger profit taking area for this second swing. Definitely a zone of interest. There's a test under overnight low. We're basically there within a point or two of our measured move. So measured move check mark, I guess, complete more or less. Big volume on that candle. Third highest volume 1 minute candle on the day. It's a hammer. Some follow through. Perfect level for that measured move. Would have been lots of liquidity there. Well, we definitely got our reaction. It was very quick. Don't really have a way for me to capitalize on those situations. That was a pretty nice spring though. That's the biggest one out of the move so far for sure. I'd say some larger profit taking got taken right at that level of interest, and then you know, people are getting out of their shorts quickly. Anybody who was late to the party that was chasing, probably getting out as it's coming back relatively quick, or they're gonna get stuck. Some people are definitely stuck off this type of quick recovery now because of that one concept. I would expect a second leg up, maybe a slight pullback. The people who are short stuck are going to try to get out at a little bit of a cheaper loss, and then that's going to cause one more pushback up at least. It's kind of how I would anticipate this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not really a way for me to, unless you're just like a limit order initiator, you know, something like that, getting in where you anticipate, which I used to do. I used to trade like that. I used to literally just rest limit orders at liquidity areas. I had some success with it. Usually when I did it, the risk to reward was often like really big, but I also found that over time I ended up catching more knives than anything. When it did work, it usually was like a large turnaround point, but yeah, you definitely catch some knives doing that. So then you're sitting there with just a random cash stop and no real swing point unless it develops as you're in the trade. That'd be like best case scenario. kind of one of those situations where it's a little bit of a squeeze right now is kind of how I read it. The longer, or like the quicker and the higher this goes, the faster it is likely to accelerate for how I read it, because I mean more and more people are getting stuck. The short sellers are getting stuck right now and pushed. This swing point and this swing point are going to be pretty critical for stops for the short side as well. Okay, that's the first candle to make a new low off this push up. Check underneath this congestion area here would be perfect. Yeah, like right there. Do we stall here now? Right into that pile of stops for these last 4 or 5 minutes here. Hesitating. Pull back to the perfect spot. Perfect spot if it holds here. Testing it again. Trying to hold. Looks good. This is where shorts were hoping. Didn't go as low as they want. Now they panic, get out quick. Quick push back up. $8.50. Pretty big risk. Decent 2-bar. No trigger yet. There's your trigger. Yep. Should extend. Wouldn't take profit yet. I was looking for a trigger and a slight opportunity to get in at a cheaper risk. I didn't want to breakout trade it there, but $8.50. Yeah, it would have been almost 4 points of risk for me to allow my 2 ticks underneath the low. It's a good read. I guess realistically, out of all the situations, to actually have the market order above my signal so that when the trigger happens, it puts me in immediately, that was probably one of the ones, because like I said, the concept behind why we were expecting that next push up was the squeeze effect. The shorts that were still holding after this, looking for more of a cheaper exit, that was the last, you know, ditch effort. And then we're like, all right, it's time to get out. And then anybody longing into that theory as well had kind of the double the buy pressure right there. A good high one opportunity too. Still big volume through B period. Whoops. Testing above that swing point now. All right, came back to the moving average. Found some profit taking, maybe some more short selling. We've done 2 legs down. Do we get a 3rd leg down? Or is this the start of a potential V pattern? The trading view's dinging at me, sorry. Like they're trying to hold that swing. Third push up. So I've done 3 legs now on the 1 minute chart. Still in leg 1 of this recovery, potentially on the 5 minute chart. So see if we continue here or if maybe it's pullback time. B's looking more and more promising. Visually so far anyway. Do we get top heavy here? Or do we push through aggressively? Was selling here and through here. And we're kind of stalling up here trying to break out this next time. It's trying to regain that moving average on the 5 minute chart now. I will say that it's not a horrible short location, but for how strong of a rebound that we had right there, I don't know that I would want to take a short looking for like trend continuation for a third leg down. If this, you know, we would have stalled a little bit lower, then sure, but we're basically testing the top, almost the top side of this previous range that pushed us lower. So I think that we would find more buyers than sellers a little lower and create quite a bit of a higher low. Yeah, good little pullback pattern there. Knew we were starting to get sells. We did our third leg. We tried one more time, closed back up in. Thought we might have been getting a little top heavy here. Generally, 5-minute charts pulling back. I would expect 1 minute swing points to fail usually. I guess this little one here did. Do we lose these ones though? Check underneath. That would be a bit of a deeper pull. That's still quite a bit of a higher low, but if we pulled back that far, a V, not really a V anymore. Not a bad 2-bar. Retested the low. No trigger yet. Here, there's the trigger. Ooh. I like the candlestick for the 2-bar, but I don't like the candle count, like the leg count. I'd rather it have been 2 legs down after that top. If we tested a tiny bit lower and found bullish reaction a second time, I'd be a lot more interested in a long. Just trying to hold a higher low. They got close on the lows. Yeah. Does it go a little bit under 25? Do we test below? Double bottom to the tick so far. Still didn't test below. Keeps trying, but hasn't achieved yet. There it goes. Okay, so we tested below. And we've now successfully tested under one of these bigger swing points. Okay. So with the right price action now, I'm more interested in a possible long for a higher low on the 5-minute chart. I might want to check underneath both of them. There'd be major liquidity down here. It's a nice push rate back up into that little range. Fail the retest. Closing on the lows. Not the greatest signal bar. Inside. So market's in breakout mode from here. Got a little flag pattern happening. Better long for me would be a poke below, a fail, and then a move back up. That would be great. And then we'd have trap people. I don't know how. Just wait, I guess. Still insiding. Went up first. Did check below that last candle by 1 tick, and then that was it. Look, this looks good. Completed our 2-legged pullback. Went into the inside breakout mode. 1 tick below, failed. Counter rally back. Ooh. Big pushback. It's a retest. Woo. We gonna test below? I thought that looked pretty good, but it quickly told me I was very wrong. We did test below there. We finally got our 1 tick test below. Tested another one. That inside flag pattern, I very much like it to do its breakout one way and then reverse, and then that's the way that I'll trade. But if it just kind of goes one way, there's not really an entry for me. It's got to do one and like tease it and then flick the other, go the other way. So no entry off the inside for me. Getting stuck here, same bottom as here. I do think that, especially after this last candle, maybe we do actually test below both these little swing points into the major liquidity pool down here. Got a nice buy up candle there on the 5-minute, and then it quickly took it away and went lower. So right back to the high. We might not break under all of them. We're kind of channeling here a little bit. These are big swings. These are very baity to me in the way that I read the price action. It's definitely swaying my opinion back and forth. I probably would have gotten caught by now if we would have tested below here before some of this happened. I would have been, you know, or if we ever would have got a 1 tick poke. Never really set up exactly how I'd like to see. And then you just get the quick big moves each time. It hasn't ever set up really the way I wanted. Or I probably would have gotten long and gotten caught. No 1 tick pokes, no clean reversal signals on this down move. We've got 1 leg down, 2 leg down. We've done 3 legs now. We're retesting. It looks like we want to test below here. But every time we get close, we do get big buys. So, I mean, maybe that is a good sign as well that we are finding buyers as we're going. So maybe they'd want to buy even more down there. There we go. We got our check below everything. I will say, now that we've came this far though and checked this area, the 5-minute chart definitely is not Ving anymore. We did fail at the moving average still. Still possible that we hold a higher low, make a second leg up, but maybe not. Maybe we just roll over off that moving average and come retest the low again. I like this area better. I had the right price action happen, I would get long, but definitely haven't had the right price action yet. Did check one tick under. Buyers never stepped in at that critical area right here that I was looking at. Looks like they were trying to hold it higher and were unsuccessful. Sellers were too strong. Pattern is developing into much more of a rollover now. Trying to stay patient, not FOMO into anything. It's hard to not just try to get into stuff because the candles are so big that like it's enticing, you know. If you get it right at all, you're getting 3, 4, 5 points in a minute. What an aggressive Friday and a half day. Like, wow. C period even still closed 150,000 contracts. all the way back down. Sellers are definitely strong today, this morning. I'm glad there was no setups that I ended up getting caught in, but at the same time, slightly surprised, I guess. Really teased this, but they never did. It was clean stair stepping. We were always making lower highs and lower lows, so like resting limit orders at swing points would have been easy trading for sure, but definitely that spring up, I was not expecting super strong seller continuation down, but they were there earlier. They came back. Oil dropped 11%. Worst day of 2021. Wow. Wow. Oil did get a pretty strong rally over the last, while. Back down to 69 a barrel. Mm-hmm. Slight reversal pattern down here on the low off a 2-tick check. Signal candle's so big though that there's nothing for me to do off it. There's a trigger. 2.5 minutes left on this 1 minute candle, or 5 minute candle. It is trying so far to be a 2-bar at a lower high possibility, but I don't know. The amount of times that it looked really good that it just wasn't, I'm hesitant for sure. Mind you, I can't take that size of risk anyway, but it starts to turn back up. Maybe we get another opportunity to get in somewhere, but at the same time, we'd have to come up, regain the moving average. We'd be bumping our heads on that and the underside here. Maybe we coil. I struggle so much with accepting higher lows. Wow. Wow. Quick move right back down. 5 minute chart did give a beautiful 2-bar with no trigger. Sold straight back down. Wow. Yeah, every time, man, every time I start to, it's slightly mesmerizing for my eyes to have candles this big, because I see this and then I'm like, oh, maybe the market's starting to give me a reversal pullback opportunity or something. But every time that we've gotten those big bull candles, they're just followed by big bear candles right after. So after the first time or two, I've really been quite hesitant now. Has not been a day for one tick poke trading, that's for sure. Hasn't been a good day for trend continuation trading for how I do it either. I mean, the patterns are there, they're just either big risk or they happen so quickly that the signal and the trigger candle all kind of, the pattern basically already completed by the time the candle closes. It's just like big candles each way. Very difficult to get in. It pauses at an area for a second and then goes all the way back to the extreme of the swing. So unless you were, like I said earlier, unless you were literally resting limit orders, expecting swing points to maintain highs and lows, that's the only way that you could get in. Each one of these stair steps, right? You could anticipate, okay, I'm going to risk 2 or 3 points, have a limit order waiting, looking for extension down, exit trade. Again, limit order waiting, exit on the extension. Limit, this one probably wouldn't get filled, it didn't come high enough. Same thing here, limit order waiting over the swing, extension down. Yeah, it's very quick, very quick. I had my one setup early, and this was a good setup here too, but I will be honest and say that the emotion, the same emotion kicked my ass. I had a nice momentum engaged trade right here to buy the first candle to make a new high on this little pullback, anticipating the second leg up because I knew that shorts were trapped. Looks like we're gonna test low a day here maybe. Everything looked exactly like I wanted, but when I looked at the risk of the trade, it was gonna take like 4 points to get in. So if the trade lost, I was gonna lose my full profit on the day, and I couldn't pull the trigger. Even though the trade was perfect, everything about the trade I wanted, I couldn't accept new low a day. I couldn't accept that if I lost, I was gonna give back my full winning trade. So same problem. Kicked my ass again. But trying hard to journal these events to really pound in my brain that gotta do it. Like, it's okay. Even if I do give back the full day's profit on that next trade and it loses, I might not too, right? Miss every setup unit, don't take. So we stalked that trade hard, but risk was high enough that that emotion played together and I could not do it. I literally just couldn't do it. Wanted it, couldn't do it. And nothing else since then has really formed the way that I've been ready for. Yeah, there's always another trade coming. Exactly. I am going to be leaving probably 15 minutes early today because I have to go get some blood taken today. I'll be honest and say I'm quite surprised at how this happened. Now, I mean, I draw these lines to remind myself that we are stair-stepping to the downside and we haven't done the third leg yet. So, right, the same concept. Fails to break that swing high, we're going to push the swing low. But was really kind of teasing a V for me visually, that's for sure. So we have done 3 pushes now. We're at the top, on the daily chart, we're at the top side of that old range right here, where we held and then continued to break out to the upside. We're testing the top pretty much right now. If we don't find support here, I expect to test at the lower side of the range, and then, I mean, ultimately, if we make it to the lower side of the range, generally I expect a poke below. So what a candle on the daily chart. It's been a while since we've seen a candle like that. I had a pretty clean up move. This was a nice short pattern on the 1 minute chart, really, which did happen at a pretty key location, but I was so stuck in my brain at that point, still expecting the V, like a V. It's just where my head was at. I was not stalking a short trade at that location. The pattern was fairly nice on the 1 minute chart. Saw Bitcoin took a really nice dump too, down 9%, 8%. I don't know if you dabble one time with Bitcoin or crypto or any other products, but I do Bitcoin trade here and there. I will trade shitcoins here and there if they present right, but that daily chart on Bitcoin I was quite interested in. It was looking nice, for a potential long. I was at basically 2 out of the 3 things that I look for, waiting for that third, you know, trigger confirmation for me to get long on the daily chart, and it canceled the trade last night. It never ended up triggering through. It was very close, like very close. And the current daily candle now just sold right off with, I mean, just like I guess the rest of the markets. Yeah, to be honest, cryptocurrency is kind of what got me into the markets. In 2018, I fell into the Bitcoin FOMO craze, and your boy bought Bitcoin at 20K the first time. It was like 18K, and I watched that shit dump back to like 3 grand. And yeah, I was like, well, that was a pretty good learning experience, introduction to buying something in a market. And I didn't understand what happened or anything, right? I was just, you know, the general population, everybody was like talking about Bitcoin at that point, and I was the guy who was buying the bag at the top. And it got me interested enough that I wanted to start to learn about charts and markets and blah blah blah. And now, after like a year of learning charts and all that stuff, I started dabbling with stocks and futures, and then I've never really looked back. But I am glad that I got into Bitcoin at that time, even though I lost money. It got me into trading, so. Oh, maybe people selling their Bitcoin to cover margins in other markets while they're falling, to like add margin in so they don't get liquidated and stuff, maybe. Well, Bitcoin, I think it released its first, like, now it actually has actual ETFs and stuff through real markets finally. So I don't know if it will start to follow more so. Negative news affects all markets, positive news kind of affects all markets. Maybe it's going to follow suit. I don't know. I don't really invest in it. I don't, like, as cool as a concept I guess it is, I don't really understand it, and I don't try to or anything. I just, it's a volatile product, and I just trade it like I trade anything else. If I see a good pattern, then I'll swing trade a Bitcoin position, sure. Well, I think that's probably going to be it for me. I'm going to do my review. Didn't ever really get another trade set up, but that's okay. We had a nice push right at the open after massive gap down. We had an 80-point gap down this morning. The negative COVID news lined up with a pretty bearish looking daily chart. You know, gave a nice big gap down, and then we had that clean push up real quick, a nice reversal at the top, Not really any opportunities to get in for me early through here. Have a good weekend, man. See you Monday. Enjoy that weekend. We had a nice clean continuation push down, and then at this point I was looking for shorts. We got all the way down to the bottom here, and I was kind of expecting a check underneath some of these levels. So when we hesitated here with this decent 2-bar like inside candle, then we got a second inside candle, I knew that market was in breakout mode at this point. So if we broke out and then failed the breakout, I would be interested in the opposite play, which is exactly what happened. We tested below just a smidgen, instantly brought back up, failed the inside breakout, and I quickly bought a pullback retest, just looking for a quick spike in the opposite direction. Took it out, bought on the pullback, took it out very quickly. It spiked straight back up. As soon as it started to flicker sells at all, adjusted the position. Like I said, we knew that sellers were dominant, but there was a slight stretch in balance here. It was a good spike opportunity. The spike didn't happen quite as far as I was originally looking for, but that's okay. Happy with what I got out of it. It's good trade management there. Otherwise, I would have ended up sitting through a bigger pullback to get the ultimate target, which is not what I was interested in that trade. I was not looking for a multiple pullback step thing here. So no trade setup after that through here. On the continuation to the downside, we almost got a momentum trade ignition, but this candle pulled back and then went lower, so that canceled the reset for me. So I was unable to take the low one opportunity. So again, had to have been 2 legs, didn't get it, so no trade setup through here. We did get a momentum ignition trade set up again on this push. However, the pause candle happened, and I have removed the ability to breakout trade the pause candle if it is the extension, because I'm finding more often than not that extension ends up being a fake out, and then it goes right against me. So if this was to pull back a little bit, similar to how this pulled back, I would take the low one, but didn't happen that way, so no trade set up through here. And then ultimately price then had came all the way down. Oh, my alarm's going off, remind me. Price had came all the way down, broken new low a day, and we knew there'd be profit taking there, and there'd be some long interest down there, so we were patient at that point. Saw the nice spring up, and we actually did get a momentum ignition trade with 5 candles in a row to the upside. Now, while we were watching this happen, the spring back up was pretty aggressive and pretty quick. So in my mind, I was thinking and understanding that, well, a lot of shorts just exited their positions quick. Lots of longs got in, but there's still lots of laggards and shorts that are still probably either stuck in a small amount of pain or getting close to their stop out, depending on where they went short. And they're going to ditch that position on the first sign of, strength again. When that rollover happened, some are going to be getting out. They're going to understand we're probably going to go higher, so they're going to be closing those positions. So it's extra buy pressure, right? You've got long momentum ignition, and you've got shorts that are stuck that are also going to get out. We're going to get double buy pressure. The theory and concept behind the trade setup worked perfect, along with my 5 candle in a row momentum ignition. I really liked it, but I didn't pull the trigger because of that one concept of I had made money on the day. I was going to risk all of that money that I had already made to get into this second trade. And yes, it did do exactly what I wanted and paid out a beautiful 2-to-1. Everything happened exactly how I would have wanted it. Perfect setup. But I was unable to pull the trigger properly based off that emotion. So again, similar problem. That problem haunts me, but I'm still doing it this way, and hoping that the more thoroughly I review and do it and be patient, I will grow my confidence to do this better, and to understand that I need to take that second risk or that third risk, because my winning days will never be as big as my losing days if I don't continue to take that risk, because I will take that risk if I was losing on the day. If I was red on the day, I would have had no problem taking that trade. I would have taken a second swing for sure. So yeah, I need to flip that. I'm doing it backwards. But yeah, that was the only other trade setup. This was a decent short pattern setup for sure, at a good location, but visually at the time, hindsight for sure, it looks like a great short, but visually at the time, right, I was really almost starting to anticipate a V recovery. It was looking like it to me. It was teasing the start. So I was not visually looking or stalking for a short trade. So we missed this trade. And then through here, the market was pretty channel oriented through this like downward move, but it was pretty much from extreme to extreme. There was no real signal trigger setups for me to get involved in. It was basically just, you'd have to limit order extremes, and you did get paid if you did that, but not really how I trade. So no trade setups. And yeah, that's going to conclude my day. So hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and trade safe. Sessions only goes for another hour and a half, I believe. I anticipate volume will die before the complete end, but maybe not with this kind of volatility. But yeah, I'll see you guys first thing again on Monday morning, same time.